But let's bring it back to HapeBeast. So what do I
Yeah,
think about
we'll
HapeBeast?
come
I
back
think
to it.
HapeBeast is going to do fantastic over the long haul from a brand aspect alone.
Hmm.
I think that they're doing some really good things. They've got a massive community. They could have really any clothing partner as a
Yeah,
brand
for
sponsor
sure.
if they
For
wanted
sure.
to. So I think they have the most potential uh, that we have seen in the space in a very long time.
Welcome back to the Joyage Kingdom, guys. We have a super exciting guest today. We are extending the NFT podcast series, interview series. It's super fun. So we're going to roll the intro right now. Welcome back to the kingdom. It's Cage, your guide. I'll be replacing the voice strategy for now, giving you a break from the constant internal monologue that is the human mind. I want to say first, thank you for listening or viewing on whatever platform you're on. If you haven't already, smash that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the kingdom.
As always, this channel is sponsored by the Supducks NFT project. We love the Supducks over there. We like projects that are working on foundations, working on brand, and focusing on the long term. That's why we partner with the best projects in the game.
We have Corey, fellow YouTuber, on today. He's a dope YouTuber. He's got so many, I guess, like, he's one of the few YouTubers that I like for NFT. I don't watch almost any NFT YouTube, so I'm really excited to have you on the channel, dude.
Awesome, man. I appreciate the intro, and it's funny you never mentioned that actually before. That I am one of the few that I feel so blessed. I really it's kind of crazy. I'll start with that too. Like, thanks for the intro, though. I'm happy to be talking with you. I know this has been a long time coming for the both of us, and
Yeah.
we've been sort of growing at the same pace, it seems, and we cover the same similar industry.
Mhm.
So it's been a lot of fun to connect with people like you and a lot of other people in that space. That's one of the things I think that's kind of I want to say, like, brought me down to earth and made me feel a true passion is just literally communities, people like you speaking with the channel project owners. It's a wild space, but it's a lot of fun.
Dude, it's made life so much fun. That's like the best part about NFTs. That's like my everything with my brand. I want to make life fun for anyone who's associated with me, and just like do interesting shit. Like I had a conversation with Subducks this at the beginning of the year, and I'm talking to OogaVerse about doing like interesting content. I was like, look, it's good to do the sit down videos, the ones that we're all doing, and I was like, but no one's doing like any weird, crazy YouTuber style content, like even like vloggy, maybe even some cringe, where you fly out and you do some like whatever. And I was like, I think that could explode. And I think not many projects are going to be willing to do that with content creators. But yeah, dude,
Mhm.
just connecting with people, yeah, talking on, just seeing your face popping up on Twitter. I think I like you more than a lot of the influencer people because I think it's because the profile picture is you. And so I feel way more connected when I see you pop up.
Well, I think that's slightly intentional too. I think a lot of people who are larger influencers and they never show any personal life, it almost takes away the person behind it, right?
Yeah.
And the humility behind it is essential. I think we kind of hinted on this right before we hopped on. Was I'm just me. Like, I like to show who I am. I like for people to recognize the face and the name and that sexy voice, of course. I don't know. It's just fun. So I appreciate that, man. It's always, and you kind of do the similar thing, right? With your profile picture too.
Yeah,
So I respect that.
that was the goal with when I did it. I left it there. I had my friend Sydney make a pixelated version of this photo that I had and add these glasses on it.
Oh yeah. Classic. I love those.
And I started where I had it in my profile picture as a joke for like a week. And then I remember I popped in like 2 or 3 discords for reviewing videos, and I was like, "Hey guys, I need your help with whatever." And then a couple times I had someone say, "Yo, like I recognize your profile picture," and I was like,
Hmm.
"Wait!" And then a light bulb clicked, and I was like,
Hmm.
"This needs to stay the profile picture."
Yep. Yeah. And it's funny. So I'm so meticulous and picky, I think, with different things. And one of those is my profile picture. So I've been wanting to change that literally since the day I put it up there. But now I'm like, I should probably just wait a little bit. Like, I don't know. I'm still torn around with the thought. What's your thought on it?
I love it. I think it's dope. I mean, if you want to like update it or something, yeah. But if you were thinking about changing it to like a picture of a lion or something, I think that would be dumb, just
Yeah.
because you already have that going for you. And I think just based on the engagement, I mean, I look at your like your page and stuff every now and then, and like you have people who fuck with you hard. Like I know there's a lot of people out there who only fuck with the influencers because they give them money and do giveaways and stuff. But you can
Right.
tell when there's a creator online where people actually like care about that person, and you see the videos, people appreciate that. They can feel the authenticity. I can feel the authenticity, and for me, like I have that Gary Vee sense where you can notice something
Hmm.
and like notice it early and be like, yeah, yeah, and that's helped me with NFTs, but also with finding the content creators that I like watching and stuff.
I mean, that's almost a superpower right there. I'll tell you that because I think most people, they've, some people have seen my history as far as my personal and professional past goes, and I've been in sales my whole life. Literally, like before I graduated college, I was in real estate, and then I went into remodeling, and then I've done a
Holy
whole bunch of other
shit.
different things. Dude, I've been in sales. I have only held one W-2 position, and I think I credit
Get
a
the
lot
fuck
of
out
that
of here. Are you
success.
serious?
Dude, I can't do it. I cannot do the
Wow.
9 to 5
Yo,
thing.
props to you. Props to you. Damn.
Well, props to the people who do it, man. I mean, there's a shoe for every foot, but
Mhm.
that's not my fit right there. Um, but yeah, I've only ever worked for myself. Essentially, what it is, you write your own paycheck, you write your own hours, and I was just never in the belief of you work for a certain amount of time to make X amount, and regardless of how well you do at that job
Yeah.
or how poorly
Yeah.
you do that job, you can't cap that, and that was a massive turnoff for me. So I found that out very early on. But I say all of this because I think one of the reasons why I have been successful with sales and just 1099 positions as a whole is because a lot like you, like I have that spidey sense,
Mhm.
I have that spidey sense about people, about reading intuition, about reading like little micro facial expressions.
Yeah.
Um, so I get it, man. I think a lot of people who have that, it's rare and it's almost impossible to duplicate, right?
Yeah, dude. And
Or create.
one thing I noticed was with NFTs, this I think I don't know if Gary said it or if it's something I just took from something he said, but he basically said there's certain skills that because of NFTs you're going to be able to work full time because of certain skills that weren't a thing before. There were no jobs before. I remember my
Yeah,
dad the other day was like, you like created a job where it didn't exist before, and I was like,
I love
that
it.
is so true. And dude, that's what it is with NFTs. Like, you can be a nice person, good at talking to people, boom, community manager, Discord, full-time job, boom. And it's like, whoa, there's people getting
And you
paid to
don't have
just
to
be on
leave your
Discord.
house.
Yeah, oh my god, it's the best thing ever. It's the best thing ever.
So whether you believe it or not, I'm a massive recluse, which is why my stuff is dark. I
Mm-hmm.
like it this way. I like to stay home, but the world forces me to be out there,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm okay with that too. But I, like you just said, like it's really cool that we have found this. I'll call it an industry
Mm-hmm.
that we can formulate our own success path through different branches, like you said, community manager or social media manager, which is already a thing in real life as well. But there's a lot of avenues here with
Mm-hmm.
influencers and so many things. Even you and I and bigger YouTubers have no idea. Like this space is so fresh and so new that that's also one of the things I'm super excited about is just the unknown and just the overall conviction that I have that people like you and me and a lot of other people within the space are going to be so successful at this really crazy unknown space. Like
Yeah.
it burns my fire. I am freaking pumped just thinking about it.
Dude, yeah, it's
Can't help it.
so exciting. It's so fun. And yeah, to think about jobs that are happening in the future, because I've had people ask me, they're like, how can I make it in NFTs? And I've always said the same thing. I'm like, look, you're probably not going to make it flipping NFTs. That's just not sustainable. That's why I stopped.
Yep.
I was like, I mean, I did it for a while, and then I stopped, and I was like, I'm just going to focus on like making content and like building my brand. But as far as flipping NFTs, like yes, there are many people who've made a lot of money, but when you think about the mentality of a flipper, there's no long term thought there, like whatsoever. So to think about
That's
that as
true.
like a career is almost silly. And so I was like, you'd be better off like figuring out a skill in the NFT industry and just like getting good at it and networking. Like that's literally it. Like networking is the answer. And you don't even have to be good at stuff sometimes. You can just know someone. I've had so many people tell
Yeah,
me they're
that's very
working
true.
full time in NFTs and they're literally like, yeah, like I knew a guy and I've been on Discords and I knew some stuff about NFTs and I don't know, I'm just full time working on Discord.
Now I'm here. That's right. I mean, who knew?
So
Which
fun.
is so cool to see because I have voice chats usually every day with somebody, um, uh, and I'll tell you, yesterday I was on the call and I won't say the name, but he's a very well known mod in the space. He's
Mhm.
a developer as well, and he's working full time. He literally just quit his job last week
Wow.
to hop into this space, and I was like, dude, I just freaking so pumped for you, and I love hearing those kinds of stories. It literally, like I said, it burns my fire. I love it.
Yeah, and it's fun because NFTs is how you said it's like an industry, but it's also a job. But it's also
I
like
call it
it's
an
just
industry.
like normal life too. At this point, like at this point, if you're in
Hmm.
full time with NFTs, there's nothing else. You see people in real life, and you're like, how's the and you're like, what do I even like? What is going on all day long? And I don't know if you've done like any in person meetups or any in person events with NFTs. What has that been like for you?
I'm super pissed actually. I missed one because I was Lazy Lions had one in Atlanta, which is where I'm out of, and there was like 6 people that went down to it. So it was a little bit of a smaller meetup,
Yeah.
and I really wanted to meet up with the folks. I'm not gonna lie, I already had a good time here at the house, so I couldn't travel down to Atlanta.
Yeah.
But I did. kind of hang out with them on Discord. I almost felt like I was there in spirit, but
Right.
I want to join up. That's one of the things I'm super passionate about, just meeting other people in real life through this space that we had maybe otherwise never had known about. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm a little upset I didn't join that one. There will be more.
Of course.
And those are the ones that, like on a roadmap, for example, we all know what roadmaps are. Like if they have actual plans for an in real life event, like it's a little bit more of a notch on something that I'm looking for whenever I decide to purchase an NFT. Whether it happens or not, it's nice to see that that's on there.
Yeah, I remember we were like, I think this may be the second cycle of NFTs, and we were starting to see like a trend where like, okay, all the projects have the same thing on the roadmap. Like, nope, like everyone wants merch, everyone wants
Yes.
in real life events. But now we're at a point where we've been in the space for 6 to 8 months, and so those projects have kind of established, like certain projects have established themselves as like blue chips or whatever. And now we're at a point where like, okay, now we want that in real life event, and now we really want that the hat, right? Like we want that hat. We want that hat. If I had a Subducks hat, I'd feel way more like a Subducks holder, And
For sure.
I think that's where projects need to be headed. And the thing is, when I say something like that, I hate making videos like that, is because I'll say something that I think could be a helpful trend to a lot of projects. And the thing is, the new projects take certain advice for other, like a project that's launched in July, that this information is way more important to them versus this new project where they have to focus on other fundamentals and not copying the projects from the summer, because that only happened like there's breeding and stuff in the summer, staking, and everyone's like, this is what needs to happen. So all the new projects now are like, see, we have all these things, and it's like, but we didn't ask for that. You're just doing that because they did it.
Copy and paste. That's right.
Copy and paste, man. Copy and paste. But anyways, I was going to say with the in-real life event, I went to California to visit a friend, Sydney, who's an NFT artist that I bought from, and we became friends. And so I was there, and we also lined it up because there was an in-real life California little small NFT like gathering. I don't think anyone knows what NFTs are. So literally it was like 10 people. But it was so weird. We like the first 10 minutes, I'm not awkward just in general because I've worked so many customer service jobs. But I like came at a loss for words multiple times because I was like, wait, what do I like say about NFTs? Like, what do I normally say in a Discord? I can't say it. Like,
because now you were in person and you actually had to be there and you were tangible at that point versus, coming up with some stuff. And that's gotta be weird. Actually, I had never thought about that. Like the duality that we have behind the screen or behind our keyboard. And then when we actually flip that, now we're actually in person. It's like, can I buy you a drink?
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. Like, do I say like, hey, I bought a really cool lazy line yesterday, and they're like, oh, nice, like let me see it, and then it's like, shit, we're still sitting here at the bar drinking a beer, and like it's just different. It's so different. I mean, are you nervous about that? Are you gonna go to like NYC NFT since you said you're more of like recluse?
No, I'm not nervous at all. Actually, I really do thrive being around people. As much as I enjoy being at my, my bat cave, if you will, I have a fantastic time meeting up with people in real life. I mean, I think if you don't like being around people, you're probably living on the wrong planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a good sort of balance there between solo and being together with other people. I think that, both of those can feed off of the other one. I do enjoy being around people, and I don't want to seem as if I don't like people or being by myself, because I do, right? I mean, that's kind of why I just said, before, the communities behind any successful NFT project, as we both know, is exactly what drives that community to be successful. And it's the people behind the profile picture that do that. So, and to be able to transition that from the keyboard, like I had just said, into a real life event is super cool. It brings a whole nother level of excitement. Like you said, you got a little nervous, and I haven't felt that feeling yet. So I kind of want to feel it.
Yeah, but, it was a little bit nervous. I mean, I was fine on a person to person level, but I wanted to talk about NFTs. I just didn't know how. I was like,
you bring a printout of your piece and like, here's me.
So have
like
you,
a name tag, right?
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it was. Man, that was so interesting. But have you always been more like, have you always been able to do both and be alone, or have you always like need to be around people? I know some people have like a problem being alone, and the idea of being in a bat cave for 4 or 5 hours alone with their thoughts maybe sounds like the worst thing in the world.
I love it. No, I think I'm more pulled this way. Like, transparently speaking, I enjoy being by myself, and I enjoy having my inner dialogue and working on myself, because I feel like, most people know I'm a family guy, and that as long as we're good up here, like that can transition into the real life, right? So I think for me personally, that's essential. But I don't have a problem with kind of the balance, right? I think once everyone goes to sleep and Corey gets some time to edit the YouTube videos and kind of browse and stuff, like that's my mental reset for the next day. Plus
Yeah.
coffee. Coffee helps. You got to have that.
Oh,
I
coffee's
need the coffee.
fantastic. Coffee's fantastic. What are you editing on? Are you Final Cut or Adobe?
So
iMovie?
it's funny you ask. So I actually edit on my iPad Pro.
No
I
way.
use LumaFusion.
Okay.
Yeah, I edit on my iPad Pro. I use LumaFusion right now. I also have Adobe Premiere Pro and have After Effects. So I'm transitioning to the iPad Pro to the MacBook Pro, just because of the we had talked about earlier, like the delay in time frame and how much more time it takes just to edit a simple YouTube video.
Mhm.
And I feel like just swapping between the two, as I usually do, because I AirDrop a lot and try to mix stuff. It could be a lot easier and more streamlined through this one platform.
Yeah.
But currently, I'm an iPad guy. I love the iPads. I'm an Apple guy. Don't hate me.
No, I mean
Or
I
do.
love Apple too. And I also saw on one of your YouTube videos you I think we may probably be the only people left who are using laptops
Uh-oh.
still, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
I
I like the portability aspect. I'm so
Yeah,
like
okay, me
fluid.
too.
Like, yeah. I have a desktop. It's literally right here.
Oh
This is
shit, you're right.
Windows.
Yeah. It's too pixelated. I can't
But
even know. I thought it was just colors.
it's just beautiful colors. Amazon purchase. No, that's my my desktop. It was primarily my main computer there for a while, and
Mhm.
then ultimately I switched to the more portable aspect because I every time I buy a desktop, it happens every time. I'll tell you this. Every time I buy a desktop, I'm always pissed, and then I want to move somewhere, and I can't just take the whole thing because it's
Oh yeah,
massive,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I just want to sit over here. Like I just want to sit on the couch. I want to edit on the couch. And then when the couch gets uncomfortable, I want to
That's
go
so funny.
upstairs to my bedroom. I want to
Yeah.
edit on my bed, you know? And I can't do that. So I'm like frustrated and my butt starts hurting. I'm like, I need to move. I need to jog and then I can come back to it. So I think every time I get a station like this guy here, I always want to buy this. So I
Mhm.
bought both now. It's
Smart.
a problem. It's a write off at the end of the year.
That's
I
very
don't care.
true. Yeah, I'm very excited to because how you said earlier you'd only done one or I think it was one WT forum ever, and
Yeah.
I've definitely done a few. I think I worked as like a cashier for a while. I worked at a gym, I think, and what else did I do? I did some like orientation work, but there was a point right after I hit college, right at the end of college, my last semester, I think, and that was the last time I did like a typical job because I remember this
Yeah.
was like just unsustainable. How you said it's just I can't trade 8 hours of my life to just get this much. Like that doesn't make sense. Like I don't have to do anything basically and I get paid the same. And so as soon as I
Mhm.
graduated college, I got a job as a server because I was a ex-college student and there was no jobs and like COVID, I think. So I got a serving
Sure.
job. I made a shit ton of money and I was like, wait, this is dope because I'm making my money literally. And
Yeah.
after that job, I started traveling and I door dashed. And that's the very same concept. You pick your own things, all commission based. And a year of that kind of work opened my mind up to all these new possibilities. And then
Yes,
that's
sir.
as soon as I transitioned into content, and it was just like,
I love it.
oh man, it was amazing.
I love it. And this is what you do full time now, right?
Yeah, right now, so I work with OogaVerse and
Yep.
Subducks, and so they're financing me. And then with YouTube, I just got monetized, so I'm waiting on YouTube basically to like hit me back up and just say
It's
yes.
not much.
Yeah,
it's
I bet it's nothing.
it's not much, but I think I would say that the people I speak with would agree that unless if you have over 50,000 plus subscribers and all the other factors that go into YouTube, it's to make that your primary sole income for just like a single individual
Hmm.
would be very challenging. But it is another stream of income, right? So
Yeah,
to not turn that away entirely. But
yeah, man.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, dude.
I'm proud of you for the OogaVerse thing and the Subducks. I've been following your journey this whole way through, and I'm excited to see what continues, man. I think you're gonna pop off very well.
Hey,
Very well. I can't speak. I need more coffee. Excuse
thank you,
me.
man. Well, I remember you covered space, or you covered OogaVerse back before there was OogaVerse. There were Space Apes. I
Yep.
think that was back in November. I remember. I think I watched that
Yep.
video. I know that was probably one of the
Yep.
first videos I saw of you.
Yeah, I tell you, like Space Apes, which is now OogaVerse, as many people are familiar with, was a very pivotal point for me because I remember very clearly back then that the Space Apes just art, and I could speak a whole conversation on the art alone on that one and many others that for whatever reason, I just felt like because it's such a hyper limited supply, I just had to get in on it. Like I just wanted to
Mhm.
be a part of it. I knew apes was like a thing. There's this pixelated artwork, which I've always been a fan of pixelated artwork. I don't have
Same.
any deterrence against that versus 3D or anything. I think there's a spot for both. And I knew just like immediately when I saw that they were like 3.5 ETH back in the day, and I was like, my lord, Corey's got to have one of these. just to think where it would be if it continued to grow. Like if I had 3.5 ETH right now, I would
Yeah.
absolutely buy one of those. And at the same time, simultaneously, I was also looking at the Sneaky Vampire Syndicate. And I've actually owned one of those before in the past. So that was sort of like another check on the box. But those two projects were really sort of the two projects, and Dapper Dinos as well, that really kickstarted my interest and passion for NFTs. So there's always gonna be a spot in my heart for the OogaVerse,
Yeah.
for sure, like 100%.
Same, dude. I don't know what it was. So
And I love that you work with them.
yeah, I love them, and I was honestly, when I first started working, I was just curious to see if I would. I was like really nervous I wouldn't, and I would have to cut ties with them. But I've loved I mean, they're dope, and they work really hard behind the scenes. They're fucking always, literally always working. Like whenever I'm messaging GM, like the last message, it's always like, Jesus Christ, I need to sleep, and they just work fucking hard. And so I like them, and I've always had a gut feeling. Like I don't know if did you like grind on the whitelist? Did you mint them, or did you buy in the secondary? Are you in the project at all?
So let's see, whenever there was Space Apes, I minted. Now I'm trying to remember because there was that migration from Space Apes
Yeah.
over to OogaVerse. I had them before it was migrated to OogaVerse. So there was the original 100, right? The OG 100, and then they released the remaining 1900, and I minted two of those.
Yeah.
And then think I sold both of those to pick up two other ones that I just liked visually.
I did the same exact
more.
shit, dude. I sold it immediately, and I bought another. I
Yep.
bought two more.
I mean, I tell you, like the aesthetics behind any particular project is something that I don't really. Most of the time, I could care less about the rarity traits.
Yeah, me too.
It really doesn't matter to me.
I don't
I
know
like
shit.
to. Yep, I like to purchase art because of what it looks like. You know, I don't care if it's the most common of things, and it's also the cheapest, which is actually a good, double benefit there.
Amazing.
Instant check. Yep, that sounds good to me. Or it's more rare, and I'm like, well, crap, now I got to dish out a couple more ETH for it, or whatever it might be. So I did that, and then ultimately I sold one of them. I think when the market started dropping, because I was trying to flip it for like a lazy lion, a super rare lazy lion. I can't remember. And then I had the second one listed, and I had it listed well above floor. And then like 2 nights later, I think it sold, which was less than what the floor is on them now for the Genesis collection.
Oh, no.
And I was pissed, and I was like, well, I guess I got a little bit more ETH, but I'm not really looking to buy this anymore.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and since then I've been like, I need to buy another one. So I put in 2 offers on ones that are currently listed at 2 ETH because I just like the aesthetics behind it. It literally has the mohawk, and you might even know exactly which one I'm talking about. It's a black suit, which is what I had that I sold. I like the gold suits too, but overall, I'm going to be picking up another one just because, again, the sentimental value behind it, if nothing else.
Do you have the photo on your phone? I have the one I still own. So I gave one away for a giveaway. That, dude.
You mean which one I'm looking at buying?
Yeah, or whatever ones that you can find.
I got it right here actually.
One of mine away. Oh, you got it.
Hang on. This is the one. I'll snap it real fast, and I'll just do this. This is probably the easiest way to do it. Not the most professional, not the best looking way, but it's going to come across, I think. Hang on. Where did it go? All right, here we go. All right, so let's see. Where's the webcam? This bad boy right there, baby.
That's the one you want, right?
That's the one I want. So if you're watching this and you go snipe it right now, I will find you.
You'll be fucking pissed. We'll blur it out so you
and then
can't
I'll put
actually tell which one it is. Wait, what the hell is mine?
True.
I'm trying to find mine.
Yeah, I've always been drawn towards the black suit and then the gold suits, of course. And then I've had 2 mohawks. So I like those traits.
Yeah, I love for me, the crown. This is mine.
Crown.
Maybe you'll see. I just love the crown. And then I had another one with 3D glasses that I gave away for the giveaway. And dude, that hurt my soul to give that one away. I was like, oh God. I was like, this is like losing a piece of me. Cause I just feel connected to the project. I've been there since the beginning. I remember when the Genesis collection was out, it was still at 0.2 ETH. They're 100, the first they're 100. And I remember being like, oh man, I should get one. And I was like, I don't know, and I didn't, and I'm just like, fuck me. But
that's what happens. I was looking at another project, like Project Gajira, and way long ago, well before it was 5+ ETH, and of course, there's always those projects where you get a little bit upset that we missed. But I'm still looking to pick up one of those as well. Like, yeah, dude, there's a spot in my heart for those too.
Well, that's the weird, cool, awful, amazing part of NFTs is the fact that we have these emotional ties to these fucking pictures. Like they are literally pictures, but since we're in the world and we understand what they mean and what they really are, like there's a reason that while I don't like to put my name on a bunch of projects because I just think it's so subjective and there's so many reasons I want to be part of certain projects. Like I love the Lazy Lions so much. I love the Doge Pound so much. I just want to be part of their fraternity, basically, right? And
Right.
it's so different than investing in Cardano or Ethereum as a token, because there's nothing that you're buying in other than,
There's no emotional connection. Yeah.
it's so hard to flip. Like, do you have trouble selling ever, other than like a couple like those that you were talking about just now, or
Yep.
do you have any times where you're buying a project and you have like absolutely no care when you sell it? Like, are there any projects where you're specifically completely emotionally out, and what are the reasons for that? Because there's certain projects that don't have that.
I would say that the majority of, so I do still actually flip. I actually have a good time with it, but by no means does it consume my life. I mean, that is
Mm.
super toxic
Oh
mentality to
yeah.
be in. If that is your sole income, like we had just talked about. But I have a good time with like the gambling aspect, a good time with the flipping aspect. It brings a little bit more excitement. I'm not gonna lie, I do potentially invest in maybe one or two rug pulls just because I like to feel alive sometimes. But
True.
outside of that, man,
True.
like, oh, just lost my light. So hopefully this
Oh, fair.
this looks okay.
Nice to see.
Okay, cool. Um, I would say probably 70% of what I actually purchase, I have zero emotional ties to, but I still like the art. There are some sentimental pieces. Let me pull OpenSea real fast that I still have, of course. One of those I mentioned was Dapper Dinos, like never selling it. I don't care if it goes to zero. I don't care if it goes to 10 ETH plus, never selling it. Moon Boys was another one. Digi Dragons, that's a great community, in my opinion. Lazy Lion, not selling.
Do you have a cool Lazy Lion?
There's a, well, it's funny you say not selling because I just sold it like a month ago. I know. Looking to pick up another one, but I want to pick up one that this guy is not selling to me. I have my eye on it. We're still talking via DMs, and I'm not giving up until I get the dang thing.
Hell yeah.
That's my forever line. Like we talk about forever lines in that community, and that's my forever line. I want it. So,
Yeah. That's awesome.
but there's certain ones like those, like I said, like the Dapper Dinos. I bought that dang thing as a little egg, and it was moving around with the animated pre-reveal. And I've got kiddos. My kids were watching, like, ooh eyes, because it had these little eyes that ran it. So like emotional ties like that go to the kids, and then just to see the whole project through it. I don't care what it goes to, man. I'm a forever Dapper Dino carrier. And a few other projects. I'm sure there'll be more down the line, but right now, like those are my babies.
What else are you trying to get into? Are there any blue chips that you're like, shit, I should have gotten in right before this cycle, or you're looking to pick up in the bear market?
I would say I definitely, of course, want to get into the Board Yacht Club at some point down the line. That's like an ultimate goal. I think.
Yeah, me too.
That's probably a lot of people's ultimate goal, and it means more to me than just the monetary amount, right?
Yeah.
I think Sappy Seals, believe it or not, is one I would like to pick up at some point.
Why?
I've been looking at Sup Ducks a little bit. We just talked about the Lazy Line. I'm trying to pick up my forever Lazy Line. Won't sell it. And then outside of that, the Gajira one we talked about as well. I think I'd like to hold one of those. Funny enough, here's one that is not a blue chip, but it's one that I don't care if it goes to zero or. You're gonna laugh, and I wish I could share. I wish I could share my screen so you could see it. But it's called the Grandpa Ape Country Club. Are you familiar with it?
What? Wait, let me.
You have to know this.
What's it called?
All right, so it looks a lot like Board Yacht Club.
Okay, wait,
I'm just
tell me
gonna
the name of it.
Grandpa Ape Country Club, and it sounds almost like what you would think.
Oh boy, I'm nervous to see what this looks
Let's
like.
see the initial reaction, folks. As soon as he sees them.
All right, OpenSea. They got OpenSea. There we go.
You'll know.
0.28 floor, 956 Ethereum traded. Not bad stats right there. Wait, I kind of like these.
See? That's what I'm talking about.
But what happens if Bored Ape Yacht Club comes out with a derivative project and it is this? What happens to this project?
Yeah, it's hard to say, but I mean, again, that's one of those things where
like
with
these.
that particular investment, dude, they're hysterical, they're comical, and I love that. That's something that I don't really feel that many projects have, and I felt that was unique enough for me to want to spend some money on. It has that Bored Ape Yacht Club aesthetic, and then also it has a comedic humor / variable to it, and then just those two things combined, I was like, yes, buy.
Dude, I fucking want one right now. What the hell? These are so cool. Okay, yeah,
They're pretty
look
cool,
to
right?
pick one of these up too at some point. Hell yeah.
They're fun. And what's funny about it too is if you hop into the Discord, the community is really pumped about them too. Like it's a pretty fun. It's there's all kinds of grandpa memes and gifs and stuff. You would like it's a fun spot.
Well, that
But that's one to
wouldn't be
answer your question.
crazy if Bored Ape Yacht Club came out and was like, you know what, we fucking like you guys too, and just like takes off, goes to 20 ETH. That would be hilarious. Because I guess that always
Yeah,
could happen. Like, people always ask me what I think of those projects that are basically not knockoffs, but essentially the exact same project. You know, like
derivatives.
same
Yeah,
exact art essentially, and what I think about them. And most of the time, I'm like, look, they're fine. I just don't know if long term they'll survive. You know, against like an OG project. But what are your
yeah.
thoughts on that? Because maybe they would adopt them or something.
Well, I think that the potential is there for sure. I know that they have the liquidity to do so if they ultimately wanted to reach out to the founders of, for example, that particular project and be like, "Hey guys, we just want to buy you out," or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
would be. Like that's an option too, I think.
Shit, yeah, they
So
could
that
just totally
potential
buy
is
them.
there. Hmm?
I was gonna say, yeah, you're right. They totally could just buy them, like the whole project.
So I think that potential is there, but again, I didn't purchase that one for the long term hold of, hey, I don't see this as a risk, and I'm pretty confident that Board Yacht Club will buy this. Like, I'm not that naive to the space,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that with certain projects like that particular one, I think I could be wrong. I mean, we never know about how these things are going to ultimately play out, what they decide to do or what they don't decide to do. But ultimately, if they just keep where they are, like I'm happy with that. I
Yeah,
could sell it right now for what I bought it for. Not that I would do that. I'd rather just hold on to it. And then even then, if it goes up to 1 ETH floor, it doesn't mean I'm going to sell it anyways because I just like the
right,
art,
right.
I think
It
first
is
and
cool art.
foremost, it's funny, dude. I love it. If you look at some of the traits behind them too, it gets a little more funny the more you look at it too. But I
Wow.
think certain projects like that one have potential to be their own project, to be successful in a
Yeah.
sense of not to the Board Yacht Club level, but
Mm-hmm.
also just a success within their own right. They don't have
Mm-hmm.
to compare it to another project. And the
Yeah.
people ultimately, if they're purchasing an NFT and they like the community and they like the art, like why not? That's a success too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't feel that. I think certain projects wouldn't go and pull that big belt buckle on another smaller project that's a similar derivative of it because
Mm-hmm.
that would almost be a little bit off-putting for some people within this space too. But I'm not a part of the Board Yacht Club or another one of these bigger brands, but I would say that that is an option that they could
Mm-hmm.
do. Whether they do it or not, I'm not sure. I think it'd be
Yeah,
hard to
that
do it.
is a very interesting thing. While we're talking about derivatives of Bored Ape Yacht Club, give me your thoughts on HapeBeast, because if Bored Ape Yacht Club
Hmm.
comes out with 3D, I don't know what to say, because that's gonna be the exact same thing.
Where to begin with? I've actually made 2 YouTube videos on these, kind of bringing it to people's attention if they
Yeah.
hadn't already known about it. And everyone knows about it,
Everybody
but
knows about HapeBeast. That's crazy, and I bet those videos
everybody,
did well too.
I would say my most successful video is the one I didn't think it was gonna be the most successful video. It was sort of, but us bring it back to HateBeast. So, what do I
Yeah,
think about
we'll
HateBeast?
come
I
back
think
to it.
HateBeast is going to do fantastic over the long haul from a brand aspect alone.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're doing some really good things. They've got a massive community. They could have really any clothing partner as a
Yeah,
brand
for
sponsor
sure,
if they
for
wanted
sure.
to. So I think they have the most potential uh, that we have seen in the space in a very long time
Agreed.
for just really anything. I mean, they could. What are your thoughts on it? That's my quick down and dirty 2 cents. Again, my brain is a little bit scattered right now, but I'm trying to connect the dots here. I see them as a big success in the long haul for sure.
I agree with you. I also spoke to. I haven't published this video yet, but and I don't even know if I can. So maybe I'll have to cut this out. But I spoke to Mikey
Uh-oh.
G, one of the mods at HateBeast. He's like the head mod or one of the main mods, and they're very particular about like. I was like, hey, can you like, is it fine if I do this as the title? Like, I'm gonna clickbait it a little bit because you're the head, like you're a HateBeast mod, and HateBeast always does well for everything. And he was like, well, let me check. Like, I have to like check with the team. Like, I have to. Everything has to be very specific, and I talked to him a little bit about like the creator and the founder and stuff. And it's like a full blown like board of directors, trustees, like advise, like it's like a full blown business already, like a real a business
Yeah.
from the ground up. And I was like, okay, now I don't really give a fuck about anything. I just know that there's some really smart guys with a lot of money and a lot of connections running a project that already without those founders would do well probably. And I was like, all those in one pot equals a successful NFT project in the end, whether or not the floor drops to 1 Ethereum in the short term or stays at 5 Ethereum or something. But I think, yeah, I pretty much share the exact same thoughts as you. Do you have any floor
Yeah.
predictions? Because people asked me what I thought pre-reveal and post-reveal, and I told them 7 and
Ah.
then post 3. But I have no idea, like literally no idea.
Well, we saw MekaVerse go way up there, up to I think it was 12 ETH, if I'm not mistaken. I
Holy
was at Taco
shit!
Mac actually when the MekaVerse popped off, and I was on my phone. I minted on my phone, believe it or not, actually.
You minted a
Which
MekaVerse?
is I minted too. Yeah,
Holy
I
shit! You
won.
probably make so much money off those.
Yeah, it was also one of the reasons why I kind of continued on with this NFT journey right there in the beginning.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, I minted two of those, and the reason I say that is because I feel like the Hate Beast project can do very well in the same sense of like a basic floor price even before reveal. And
Mhm.
I feel like most projects, as you know, kind of do a little bit of a dip before, or sorry, after they reveal, and then they start to level out or increase from there. Floor predictions pre-reveal. Let's see. You said 7. I'm gonna
I stay more
guess a solid.
conservative, but
Okay, I'm gonna say a solid 5. Like a
okay.
solid 5 pre-reveal. And then post
Jeez.
reveal, it depends. I mean, it depends on a few different factors. I
Best
think my
case
screen is doing
scenario.
something funky. All right, there we go. You're back. I just glitched there for a second.
Oh.
Best case scenario, post reveal for the most common thing that you could ever buy off of your grandma's paycheck. Let's see. 3. I'll say 3 floor.
All right. So yours is actually lower. Most people were surprised I didn't say 12 and like 5 or something, but I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like people learned a little bit from MekaVerse. Like, that hurt a lot of people. I think that
Yes.
shocked
Yes.
a lot of people. There's been multiple events in NFT land that I can remember that kind of rocked me, like Jungle Freaks rocked me. I remember that day was a
Yep.
bad day. That was just not good energy. It was really toxic, and that was a low day for me, actually. I remember I made a YouTube video, and I was like, I feel like shit. I was like, I literally feel like shit right now.
Yeah.
And then I think the MekaVerse just turmoil. Like, what was that? Everyone's freaking out. And then I don't know. What are there any moments that you remember at NFT Land, where just specifically?
MekaVerse was one of them. I was obviously there with the Jungle Freaks as well. I have never owned a Jungle Freaks, but I watched the whole thing go down.
Mm.
But MekaVerse, just the winning of it. I made a video on me winning the MekaVerse and just the emotional experience. You could see in my eyes. I was just like, what is happening right
That's
now?
awesome, dude.
Um,
What a feeling.
so it was a crazy feeling. So I think just from a positive standpoint, like we were kind of talking about like negative experiences, but like flipping the script there a little bit, the positive aspect was certainly the MekaVerse winning.
Mm-hmm.
And since then I've owned 4. I don't currently own one, but I know that that was one that was extremely impactful for one of the reasons why we're talking here today, of course, and then just 2, why I'm still in this space.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that I have any. Actually, I can't remember what my very first rug pull was, and it was
You,
probably something like really dumb too. It's probably like $300. But
yeah.
then I was like, "What happened? It's gone." Wait,
Wait.
this
So
happens in this
when did
space?
you
This is stupid.
start again?
I started with NFT stuff. Let's
God,
see.
that's funny.
I was looking before Sneaky Vampire Syndicate minted, and I think that was like back in July-ish time
Okay.
frame. I can't
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
the time frames around there, but it was right around that time frame.
Well, do you remember, because that summer, I think I got into NFTs and stuff, like really basic shit back in like, I think April, May, like right beginning of summer, early summer kind of thing. And
Yep.
that was before there were really YouTubers talking about NFTs. There was Journey Crypto, Alex Becker talking a little bit every now and then they would mention it, but I never like
Mhm.
considered it as a possibility. And there were no like helpful YouTubers about anything. Like, I couldn't even figure out MetaMask. I literally could not figure it out. I was like, there's not a single YouTube video that's helpful here, and none of them are updated. They haven't been made in like 5 years. There's no troubleshooting. I don't know what gas is. I don't know what minting means. I remember vividly Alex Becker made a video and he goes, "If you don't know what the fuck minting is, just go home and cry to your mom." And I was just like, son of a bitch. And like,
I'm gonna go home now.
nobody
Okay.
had the answer, bro. And like, Discords weren't like a thing as much back then, so I didn't know who to ask. And now we have
Right.
so many resources. It's disgusting. Like, we have so many resources. And I said this in a video
Yeah,
that I haven't published, but there's too many people asking too many questions when they need to just dabble in the sand, you know?
I agree. I think that first initial leap into learning MetaMask, putting your deposit in there,
Mhm.
making that initial transaction, regardless of what it actually is, just to see the whole process all the way through. It's no different than, we mentioned before in the past, my sales experience is no different than me going into, for example, a home when I was doing B2C sales, making that first sales presentation and then either getting a sale or not. It really, the end result doesn't matter, but it was the learning experience along the
Right.
way. I felt that, when you first pick up your very first NFT or you have your first rug pull, like that's a big learning experience, whether it's a good one or a bad one, you're going to figure it out. And you were probably a lot like me, actually, because it sounds like we started actually right around the same time frame. Maybe you were a little bit before me. Was like you had to watch probably a couple MetaMask videos before you had a basic understanding of what was going on here.
I had to watch all of them.
Wait, why can't I just buy off of MetaMask directly? And then what do I have to go to this
awful.
other platform to transfer the money from here? And it's USD, and now it's ETH, but I take my ETH and I bring it to where, and then wait, there's wrapped ETH. What is this? I don't understand.
Oh my god,
Okay,
dude!
yeah.
Wrapped ETH took me months to figure out.
Yeah.
I still don't even bother.
It's a wild place we operate in, but I could say that I have never been more passionate about a space and kind of what you and I are doing than I am today. And that's just speaking upon, again, just the validity that I know in my heart that people like you are going to do so well in this space and find new opportunities that none of us would have never have known about prior to just diving in, like you just talked about. Like, just freaking dive in, like buy your first NFT if you want to, not financial advice, of course, if you want to, and then move on from there, because you're going to learn so much along the way. And it's a great space. There's a lot of great people that you would never have met otherwise. I love this space.
It's so much fun. How did you get into, when you started, I assume were you making YouTube videos before you got into NFTs, or did you do that thing and then?
Yeah, I was making YouTube. I've been making YouTube videos for probably 10 years. I think my best work has been.
I knew it. There's no way you talk like this in front of a camera and haven't been doing this for years.
Well, the truth is what I do at nighttime before I go to bed. I say my prayers and lay my head down on my pillow, and then I get back up out of my sheer sleep and I just turn on my phone. I'm like, all right, YouTube, welcome. This is Corey's channel. No, I don't do any of that. But no, I've been making videos for a long time. There've been crap videos, but like you said, kind of learn along the way. I have a good time. That's my creative outlet. It always has been.
Yeah.
Whether I'm good at it or not, I don't know, but I have a good time doing it. So that's one of the reasons why I've continued to do it over this period. I've had probably about 4 or 5 different channels. Most of them are trash, and then there's this one, and I'm hoping that this will be a little bit more of a polished channel.
I think it will.
Thanks, buddy. How about you? Have you done YouTube before NFT land?
Yeah, I've been doing it same as you, about 10, 12 years, something like that. Been making.
We're twins.
Yeah, we literally are, dude. I know, this is crazy. I figured it would be, though. Like, I don't know, just seeing your videos, I was like, yeah, we're probably gonna have a lot of similarities. But I made YouTube videos back in like 2009. Cool. I think it was all soccer for like 7 years. I made just free kick videos. That was the thing to make back then. I didn't know YouTubing was like a thing, and so I didn't like pursue it in that way, and I should have. But YouTuber, like, there were some people saying like, you should be a YouTuber. This is like a thing, because you weren't making money. So I did soccer for a long time. I did fitness videos. I did like mental health, spirituality stuff. I did podcasting, and then I did traveling, and that's where I ended up randomly making an NFT video and saying, wait, this is what I want to make videos about. This is it. Like, there's just no question in my head. And I just knew. Like, was it similar with you, or was it like a slow, gradual start to be like, you know what, I'm going to keep doing this? Or what was it like for you?
I would say in my younger years, I had a lot more of the shiny object syndrome issue. I would say that when I first started making YouTube videos, and this was right around the same time frame as you, I had almost felt like even then I missed the bus on YouTube, which is crazy to think about now, of course, but it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like, I think if I could go back and tell myself, should you do YouTube or not? Like, I would say, of course. Like, this is what you like doing. This is kind of what you enjoy doing, and why would you not do something you enjoy doing? Space second. 1 second. Brain is going numb again. This is fantastic. Totally Remind me. Oh, this looks nice. This looks cool. Dude, I have like squirrel problems. I'm like, what?
We were talking about, so when you first got started and you were making videos, and you told yourself from 10 years ago to keep making videos because that's what you love and that's your passion. Why would you not continue doing your passion? That's the last thing I heard.
That's the last thing I remember. So we're on the same page.
Okay. Well, is that like, I didn't know if there was like anything after that, or if that was pretty much like wrapping up and then you were like,
No, I have a great way of ending sentences. I'll just do them abruptly and just harshly with straight confusion among myself and others.
Yeah, sometimes I'll do that in videos. I'll say something and I'll finish a sentence and I'll be like, and I literally have like not a single clue as to where that was going or where I'm going next, and I'm just like, fuck me. And then there's always like there's probably 2 or 3 points in every YouTube video where there's when I'm editing and Final Cut and I see like the sound bars like doing this, and then it'll just flatline for like 2 minutes
Mm-hmm.
where I sit there and I go, what was I fucking talking about? And I'm like, oh, and then I start again.
Yep. What's funny
Man,
is on the flip side of that, I have a similar situation where like you can hear my kids when they go crazy behind me,
that's
and I have this
hilarious.
microphone. I'm like, okay, let's talk real quietly.
Yeah.
But usually, I'll have that same situation when I'm editing. There'll be this flat line where you won't hear the audio, and I'll just be listening, and I'm like, are the kids gonna yell? Can I record?
What is that
All right,
like?
welcome back to YouTube. My name's Corey Crow. In this video, we're gonna talk about. It's like
That's fucking
continues on.
hilarious.
Skip doesn't skip a beat, but otherwise you'll hear me like, "Hey, quit yelling!" It's crazy. It's chaos around my house, but it's fun.
That's so funny. You know
So
what's interesting is that before a few years ago, when I started to really pay attention to YouTubers as like a career aspect, I started to notice that most of the successful YouTubers are in their 30s or have a
mm,
family. And I didn't really pick that up because I guess in the beginning I watched a lot of vloggers, a lot of like kids and stuff. What is it like being a YouTuber with like a whole ass family?
what's funny is I think it was yesterday. My wife had said like, "I feel like you've got another girlfriend," or what did she say? She said something like I've got 2 kids right now, and she's
Yeah,
like, "I swear, sometimes I feel like I've got a third child with you around because I'm just so needy all the time." I'm like, "More hot pockets."
that's so
Something
funny.
just trying to get into the YouTube space, but like it's kind of a weird balance. We talked about the balance thing before earlier. Like it's this
Yeah.
good balance of my solo, my creative time, my mental freedom, and then I go back to the family, and it's a lot of fun there with being a kid and hanging out with the kiddos, like husbandry duties, etc. So it's this really good balance. It's great, man. I don't know. I feel like I would have so much more free time if I just had YouTube, but couldn't
Yeah.
even think about it any other way. Like this is my life. I love it, and I would say that I'm gonna hire her as like my PA. I think that's what I need to
Mm,
do. Hire my
maybe
wife as a PA.
you might have
That'd be
to.
great. And I put my kids to work. Let them start paying the bills.
Well, it's funny because we bring up like hiring people actually because at some point this year, I mean, Journey Crypto made a video the other day and he was like, "Guys, we went from 40K to 700K in 1 year," and I'm sitting here like, "Bro, I'm better. I'm better making videos than you, and I'm making way more videos than you. I should be able to hit that. I should be able to hit 1 million in 1 year." And so that's where my head is at. But then
Yeah.
the next sentence that came out of his mouth was, by the way, we've hired like a full fucking team to make this YouTube channel like the next thing. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to like get a payroll and stuff and hire people. And then people are messaging me like, hey, you can get an editor for $3 an hour in Thailand or something. And I'm like, oh, like, I guess I can, but I feel weird because I don't know this world of hiring and selling and working in this way. And so I don't
Right.
know if that's something you know of because you've worked so many non W2 jobs. Like I don't know if that's something you've thought
Mhm.
about already about hiring out and stuff.
Yeah. What's funny is I've outsourced plenty of work before in the past, not for YouTube specifically.
Mhm.
And then obviously my professional background has always been in sales and marketing. So I feel like the sales aspect of it has never been a challenge for me.
Yeah.
And then the hiring aspect, I've done 1099 contract forms for other people. I have my own business or LLC that I file as an S corp, et cetera. So very familiar with like the legality side. Of course, that changes wherever you are within the world,
Mm.
but it's not something. It's kind of like what we talked about before with the jumping into it. Like you almost have to go through that learning experience
Okay.
of what do I need to actually formally and legally hire on this person. Um, and then you're kind of smooth sailing from there. It's not too challenging. I think a lot of people. I'll have to do the same thing. Transparently speaking with you, I'll have to do the exact same thing at some point down this crazy road of ours.
Hmm.
Whether it's a PA or editing, because that's a massive amount of time. That's a
Yeah,
big time suck,
it's
as
six
you know.
hours a day
And that would
probably. You get back. You know.
and it would free up so much time. But I like
Yeah.
doing it too. That's my other plight.
Same.
Is that I really
I don't want someone
yeah.
else to edit
So
my videos, but I'm like, fuck, someone needs to edit my videos.
no one's gonna do it as good as I can.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, I think you just got to jump into it, man. I wouldn't be too concerned with it, and then ultimately you can learn from it. So
True. True. I didn't know if that was something that like I should get a lawyer as my first move as far as business because I'm like I need to find a lawyer that knows NFT land and crypto land and is also just really savvy and I'm just like fuck like is that what I need to do first or do I jump in and try something and then kind of like ask questions later?
Well, I can tell you what I did, and I don't know that it's the best thing, but I just jumped in, man. I think,
Yeah.
you know, I've learned from my past experiences that I don't want to mull it over too much. I don't want to sit on it, analysis paralysis sort of
Right.
situation. And
My life.
yeah. So I would just jump on it, man. Not legal advice, disclaimer, but go for it, bud. You
Yeah.
got it. You're doing the
So
right things. I mean, you're producing enough content with enough people. You're connecting. You're gonna have to do something at some point, I think.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I definitely have that analysis paralysis. I've never heard it put that way, or I've never heard that term before. But
Yep.
that is literally has been my biggest problem ever. Even back to like middle school and high school in math class, because I could not do well in math because I couldn't get started. I would sit there and stare at the problem and not know what to do. But if someone
Mm,
wrote the first part of a number, I literally could finish the problem every time. I just like couldn't
mm,
get the first step going. That's always been like the worst part for me. That's why NFTs are fun because there's no beginning or end. It's just like continue. You
mm.
wake up and you're like, all right, what happens? And so I think that's
Well,
why
it's a
I have
living
in love
thing.
with it.
It's yeah, it's always awake too. Whenever
Yeah,
we're doing something on this side of the world, the other side of the world's doing something while we're sleeping, which is fun. That's why I like it too.
it's dope. I'm gonna have to hire a mod at some point for my PM hours, like for my sleeping hours. I'm like, hey, you got to run this for everyone else.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to ask you, what projects are you looking into? You asked what I was kind of looking into pick up down the line, or maybe around the short term. What
Mhm.
projects are you looking into for the short and long term?
So for me, I stopped. I stopped with all the flipping. I literally just don't have
Hmm.
time to even pay attention to that currently. If I'm editing, if I'm not editing, sorry, then maybe I will have time. But I kind of made like an announcement on my channel that I was kind of done with the flipping, just because we're at a point now where sometimes you can make a video and genuinely pump up a project with 100 views. Because if there's 5 projects before a floor does a 2x, then 5 people who buy it from your video changes the trajectory of that project. And so I just didn't
Yeah.
know what I wanted to do there. And so for me, since I already hate flipping because I don't like to sell my NFTs, I get them and I get attached to them. I was like, so if I'm never
Yeah.
going to sell them, I was like, what's the point of me even bothering with this sector? And so I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm just going to give away all the ones I don't need. But there are projects that I want to hold long term. But for me, there's no
Hmm.
short term anymore. I just buy them and hold one. So I hold one of each project that I want to be in. So I just got into Cool Man Creature or Cool Man Universe a couple weeks ago,
Love that project.
which is dope. I got in literally right before the pump. It was amazing. Just pure luck, like literally pure luck. And then I want to. What else I got into recently? I still have my one set of bio pills. Everything. I just want to have one set to be part of it. I want to
Yep.
have the last
Talk about them a
unclaimed
lot too.
pill. Yeah, do I love bio pills? I want to be the last holder ever, and I want to do like a live stream where I like mint my apostle or something one day. But yeah, those are the 2 projects I hold. OogaVerse, obviously, and then projects I'm looking to get into currently. Definitely looking to hold one of a lazy lion, a doge pound, a sup duck.
So
I would love to have a cool cat, but that's such an expensive. So one day a
10
cool
plus
cat would
ETH,
be
baby.
one day a cool cat, and then obviously Board Ape Yacht Club. But honestly, just the blue chips, mainly the blue chips, just to be part of them. Like I want to have a mutant ape, I want to have a board ape, just to be part of
Yeah.
the club. I can't think of any other projects off the top of my head. Are there any that I should be thinking of that I'm forgetting?
Sneaky Vampire Syndicate. I mean, that's just my opinion. Again, I got a personal connection with them as well. I don't know if you like that project or not,
What is the
or if you guys have
connection?
ever looked at. It's the connection is minus the Twilighty vampire situation. I've
Yeah, yeah,
always been a big fan of vampires. The darker, like more Nosferatu kind of looking
yeah,
stuff. And then that project also was one of the very first projects of NFT land that I kind of looked into. And then again, I saw it pre-reveal. It had its little coffin situation, and then I saw them just freaking rock it up, and I was like,
yeah,
"Damn
yeah.
it, I missed the boat again."
I was right there with you, dude.
So
I saw it happen, and I was sitting there, and I was like, I like it. For me, I didn't get it just because I'm the same with you. I like Twilight. I like vampires too. But for me, I guess I'm like so specific with art. It just wasn't like what I wanted for art. I just wanted something else, I guess.
sure,
But that was really the only
no,
reason.
that's one of the ones I want to hold on to again. And then Doge Pound, obviously. I think we have a lot of the same interests. The
We
more blue
do.
chip ones for the
Yeah.
communities alone. But then even then, whenever I can purchase something like that, I'm not going to go pick up the cheapest one on the floor if I
Same.
can.
Same.
I still want to look more of something that I actually just like visually, because I
Yeah.
think some
Yeah.
of those they just don't speak to me. And if that doesn't happen, I'm not going to spend like $10,000+ on an NFT. You know what I mean?
Well, so this was like a month or two ago, and I interviewed Greg Norman, who's the CEO of Jupiter Project. So they launched, they're like a launch pad for project. They've launched with Bungie and with Polygoons. And as soon as I had my conversation with him, that's when I realized that companies and NFTs are the same thing. Like, it's a business, and this guy's like a real businessman. And I was like, holy shit, I need to start looking at NFT projects differently. And that same night, I was like, I also want to hold a Bungie because, one, the art is epic. I love the art so much. And I did the same thing as you. I sat on the floor for a couple days, and I was like, man, I want one, but like, I don't want these ones. And so I just waited patiently. I found what I liked, and now I hold one. And also, now that I think about it, when you minted your MekaVerse, or when you got that like big moment for yourself, I guess I do have one moment. It was literally the only time in my whole life I've ever won anything, but I minted a Polygoons, and I actually minted one of the Genesis 1 of 1s by pure luck. And
There you go.
I was like, holy shit! I was like freaking out. It was the best feeling of all time.
You know, you had that experience. I just had that experience with picking up something off of OpenSea on the secondary, obviously.
Yeah.
Which was the Undead Pastel Club, which is
Okay.
another dual derivative, and I picked it up for like 0.2. And then it's a crown one, which is a super rare trait for those. And I was like, yeah, let's go, baby.
Wait, hold on. Let me see what it's
and
called.
I like the art. And I actually like the art behind it too. So I was
Yeah.
actually super pumped about it. So I just had that feeling as well, just quite a bit later than you did.
Dude,
it's called Pastel. It's called Undead Pastel Club.
Undead.
I actually had an alpha call on that at 0.14, I think it was. And then it hopped all the way up to like 0.5 pre-reveal.
Fire. Let's go.
And now the floor price is 0.36. But
Dude,
it's pretty cool art. If you like doodle derivatives, if you like ape derivatives, that's a cool one.
I'm trying to find. I feel like I've definitely heard of it because there's so many of these derivative projects. Let me check it out.
Oh yeah.
Because it looks like me and you also have a similar artistic and we just like the same style of projects.
I think we have the same social and blood type.
Yeah, wait, I think we do. I like these. These are goofy.
See, now you have to spend some money today.
Fuck.
You're welcome.
Oh, dude, this crown one is dope. You're right. The crown one is how you were talking about, right?
Yeah, some of the crown ones are pretty cool. There's a lot of cool pieces out there in the collection, but overall, it's been doing really well.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. So for me, like I covered. I always get roasted for this because I covered doodles like a month and a half ago, and I was like, yeah, like it was a 1/8 still or 0.9 ETH. And I was like, the project's cool. The artwork, I mean, this will work. And I was like, but for me personally, like the art's cool. It's just not enough for me to want to rock this specifically. And so I ended up not purchasing it for that only reason, for the art piece only. And, since then, obviously, it's taken off to the moon and back. And so people were like, oh my God, like you should have bought it and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, but like that doesn't change the fact, like what happened in between doodles, me covering it and not deciding to buy, and it hitting an 11th floor a month and a half later, was the fact that they worked on their branding and continued to push forward with a team that's actually implementing stuff, which is all the things I said right after that sentence, which is like, look, the project's gonna work. I just artistically don't want this piece. That's literally it. And so I'm like, no, like that was a project that was always gonna work. Like you look at the team, it's all the guys from CryptoKitties back in 2017. One, they're capable as fuck. They've got money and they've got experience actually building an NFT project. I was like, of course this is gonna work. But that also matters in NFT land. Like if you don't care to be in the project from an artistic standpoint, that matters, I think. And I don't think people think like that. Or maybe they do. I'm not sure.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree.
Right on. There was a question I had up here that I just pulled up from someone who, I think it was Bryce, who asked it on Twitter. It was one of the only good questions I saw.
Dogs.
I do hear the dogs.
Damn it. See? While they go crazy, I'm going to mute my mic just for a second.
Okay, go for it. This question is from Bryce Lewandowski. Are you primarily focused on building your brand for NFTs or building your NFTs for your brand? And I don't know if he was asking me or you, because I don't know if you're working on a personal brand as well, aside from like the YouTube videos you make, and if you're making any NFTs for yourself.
So it's kind of a two-part question.
Yeah.
I appreciate your question as well. I'll answer it the best way that I can. And I think with regards to personal brand, I think that's potentially the most important thing that any influencer could do. Gary Vaynerchuk, you actually mentioned him earlier. Like he harps on brand all the time. There's so many people who harp on brand and what it means. Companies, that's what it is as a brand, right? So for my personal brand, it's something that I'm continuing to develop and explore, and I kind of know the direction of which I want to take this channel specifically, which we can talk about that briefly if you'd like to. But outside of that, man, I think my personal brand, like I want to I want to be me. Like we had a quick conversation behind, your brand and kind of what it stands for, like the overall vibe you get and give, and the artwork that you pick up for certain reasons, and it all kind of meshes with that brand that you carry throughout each one of your videos. And I want to have this similarity between each of my videos
Yeah.
that just over time people will be able to figure out my brand and who I am and what I stand for and the things that ultimately provide value to the community,
Hmm.
through my brand. So, and that is one of those value points that I want to do through the brand. But specifically, I'm gearing my channel. You're actually probably the first person to hear about this. So,
Oh shit.
I don't know if
We
it's
can
good. I'm
we
building
can
up a
cut
lot of
it.
hype behind it, but
Oh, okay.
no. We're raw
We'll
here.
keep it in. We'll keep it in.
Um, but ultimately, like I'm a big believer. Actually, you mentioned Alex Becker. He harps on this all the time too. Big believer in the gaming industry with this
Mm.
space. Like
And you're a big gamer.
massive believer. I used to be a big gamer. I don't have time to game anymore. Like
What do you mean?
literally, I
It's in
have
your
got
Twitter
the new.
bio.
I know, but I try to. But here's what I'm saying: it's like literally, I have the newest Halo. I love Halo. I've always been a big fan. I play League of Legends. I've got all these games and stuff. You can
Okay.
hear the dogs barking again. But I'm a big believer in gaming, and I love gaming. It's my release as well, and I
Okay.
love the art. I love the characters. I love the strategy. I love absolutely everything around the gaming industry.
Mm.
So I would say that my whole plan is to tell you, as long as these dogs don't continue to bark, hopefully you don't hear them.
I may be able to
Do you hear
mute
them?
out the like. I think on audio I can mute out like noise in the background. I think
There you
we'll
go.
see.
I mean, but overall, I would say that my personal brand, I want to gear it towards the gaming industry for the NFT specifically. So very niched down within gamification of NFTs, the utilization behind that, and how the strategy behind each one of these compares to another project. Actually, there's a very well-known YouTuber. He covers Diablo, actually, if you're familiar with that project
Mm-hmm.
from what used to be Blizzard Entertainment. And his name is Riker. And he does a very similar thing, just within a different space.
Gotcha.
So I sort of would like to model a lot of what I do behind this NFT space, gearing towards that direction. So if there's not really a gamification aspect to an NFT, I may or may not be covering in the future. I'll probably continue to do different projects I'm currently looking into, just as like updates. But
Yeah.
overall, I would like to be more known for that kind of content.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. That was actually that answered my question entirely. I was gonna ask where you're looking to take your channel as far as niching down, but also being able to niche outward, right? So like I'm the same. I thought about doing NFT gaming because everyone's saying that's the future. So like whatever, I guess that's what's gonna happen. So I was like, okay, well I'm not like a huge gamer, but I guess I should do this or something. And I like set up a couple times where I like started to try and play games, but that's just not my thing. Like gaming is not like I can't just be like a Twitch streamer who games all day long. That's just not my like passion. And so that was kind of sucked for me because I was like, shit, that would have been perfect. But I do want to be able to have my hand everywhere. Like my goal with my direction, my channel is I just want to be like the NFT channel. There's not a single crypto channel that I would say is top dog. I think there's probably 10 or 12, whatever, that are all kind of in that top tier. But I'm looking to be like the overall broad one. Like I know stuff about gaming, I know stuff about this and that and crypto and here and there. But I'm looking to be like an entertainer first. Like I want to be an NFT
Yep.
YouTuber, but entertainment is where I'm at. And so I've done some reaction videos to see if those would work and like people like that. And I was like, okay, so I can do reactions. And I've done a bunch of streaming and like live streams. I was like, okay, so I like streaming. It's just not always have to be games. I like drawing. I draw stuff and Procreate and stuff. And I was like, okay, I can do all these things. So that
Yeah,
means
me too. Love that.
entertainer is what I need to do. So like, where does my value come? I was like, my value comes from me growing, still providing helpful information to the NFT market on a timely fashion. Like I try and cover news like literally as it's happening. And
It's
those
hard.
videos always do well. It's hard to do, but that's where I think my I'm able to differentiate myself, I guess, from a lot of NFT YouTube channels. So that's a great
That's
idea
hard
you
to
were
do.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, with your
Yeah.
going into the
100%.
gaming direction.
Yeah, exactly. Like, literally, you and I are going in the parallel paths to one another. Where
Yeah,
we have the
to
same
the moon.
street address. Yeah, to the moon. That's right. When moon. But
Facts.
overall, yeah, very similar goals,
Yeah,
just different avenues, which is totally cool because there's
it's
a
gonna be
space for
awesome.
everybody in this spot. But I would like to be that individual who is well known for producing, educational and comedic content. Good lord, for that particular sector, because it is a sector that played a part in my past and daily activities whenever I can. I think gaming is not going absolutely anywhere.
Hmm.
Um, and overall it's just fun content. I think there's some massive amount of like concept art that I love to show in a lot of my videos that maybe people have never seen before in the past.
Hmm.
And again, that goes back to the art conversation. Like
Yep.
I have, just like you, my iPad Pro with all the good stuff on it, like Procreate and
Yeah.
LumaFusion for editing, and like it's just a big passion of mine. So whenever I can implement, content creation with art and gamification, like count me in, 100%.
Hell yes, dude. Hell yes. Do this one's kind of out of nowhere. I guess this is a question that popped up. Do any idols that you have follow you on Twitter? Like, has anyone that you're excited about followed you where you're like, fuck yeah? Because it's a difficult space, dude. Because when like someone famous follows you, sometimes you might not even know because just like forget notifications and stuff, there's just so many.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember. I don't recall seeing one come through. As you know, like we get followers every day, so it's hard to just see exactly who's followed you every time. I don't know that I have one yet. I'd have to like go through and see exactly, but
Yeah,
I think like some of the project founders of the pieces or the projects that I'm within do follow me, and I know
that's a
that has
cool
been something
feeling,
I'm
right?
like, let's go.
That's
Yeah,
such a
100%.
cool feeling.
Or even when they DM me first, I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, what's up? So no, that's a good feeling. But as far as like well-known individuals who are known even outside of NFT space,
Yeah.
not many. I think.
Do you have any in the space that you
Yeah.
want to? Like who's that one where you're like, dude, if that person follows me, it's over. Do you got anyone like that?
Alex Decker. That's the first person that came to my mind. I like him. He's a funny dude,
Yeah.
and I would anticipate him to not follow me.
No?
But if I saw him, even one of his multi hundreds fake channels, which almost got me one time,
Oh,
follow me,
same.
I'd be like, oh
Jesus.
yes, dude, they're all over the place. It's ridiculous.
It needs to get
But
verified. It's a problem. There's literally so many. It's weird. It's like literally
yeah,
weird. That guy's got so much influence. If you look at his YouTube channel, I'm sure you've looked at his channel. He's popping off, dude. Every video he gets 500,000 views. I'm like, there's nobody even remotely close. Like even Elliot Trades, Journey Crypto, Benjamin Cohen, they're getting like less than 100K every time. And I'm like, bro, these
yeah.
people he's another guy who I've taken a lot of personal branding ideas from, the way he makes videos and the way he covers certain content, the way he does. Put it like sets you up in a certain position, in a power position. Essentially, you get to be the person at the top, based on like the way you cover content. And that's kind of why I talk more on like trends and mindsets and strategy stuff, because like what YouTube really is at the end of the day is controlling the narrative of what you're trying to become. Like whatever you want to become and you're manifesting, you manifest through the videos you make and the way you interact with the community.
I would say, to circle back, like one person I just thought about who would follow me. I would love it. I'd love to meet him in person. Is Mark Cuban. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with Mark Cuban. Just very successful individual who's done a variety of different things. He came to my mind, which was kind of a unique person to come to mind, but there's probably a few of them. I'd have to come back to that.
Yeah, I
Good
think
question.
Gary Vee would probably be one that I would panic
Of
a little
course.
bit for a second. That'd be pretty crazy. I've also thought about in my head. I'm like, okay, so if he follows me, am I gonna do what everyone does and tweet that he followed me and like post a picture and be like, my life's over, or should I like not do anything and not react and just like not say anything?
Do I
And I'm like,
DM
fuck.
him or
That's
no?
the thing, dude. I don't know. Like, I think if he follows me, if I notice it within 2 minutes, I'll try and DM him immediately and like have something like thought out that's not like, hey, like thank you so much for following me. Or somehow, because there's like a conversation I want to have with him, which has to do with trends coming up, and I'm like, I don't hear anyone talking about it, and so I'm like, if he follows me, I'm sending him a message saying, like, I'm not seeing you talk enough about these trends. Let's talk about it. And if he says yes, I need 5 minutes on my podcast, and I'll tell you all about it. You can tell me blah blah blah. Like that's my mindset because I've heard him
Could you
say
imagine?
that. I would shit my pants if that happened. I would shit my pants. That would be insane.
That'd be wild.
That would be absolutely wild, dude. Man, yeah, that would be really cool.
Oh.
How about not in the NFT space? Do you have anyone that you'd be psyched that follows you, maybe from like the traditional world or something? Because like Mark Cuban's still like a pretty big crypto or like he's like a crypto person. People like associate him with crypto and stuff a little bit.
I've always had a celebrity crush on Kate Beckinsale. So if you get in the space or not,
Wait,
just follow me on Twitter.
who is that?
What?
Wait,
I
hold
can't
on,
even
no,
look at
no,
you
no,
anymore,
hold on. It's because I'm bad with names. I'm really good with faces though.
Kate Beckinsale. She was in Underworld. If you're familiar with that film,
Underworld,
that
yeah.
series.
Oh, I know this chick. Oh yeah, dude. If she followed you, that would be epic.
My little crush.
That is awesome. That is awesome. All right.
What about you, man?
Oh man, from the traditional world, who would follow me? That would be cool. Shit, I'm trying to think of all my passions. Like if I was to follow someone from like fitness or soccer or like an actor, maybe. I don't know. It'd be cool to have someone. Fuck, man, that's actually really hard.
That's
I don't
hard,
know.
right?
Yeah,
It's a
that
hard
is
one,
hard. Well, because here's
especially
the
on the spot.
well, it depends also because Twitter's like a specific platform. You know, like there's certain people I'd rather follow me on Instagram versus Twitter. So like Twitter
Hmm.
specifically, like someone who cares about my thoughts that I put out there. Fuck, I don't know if there's anyone, dude. Like I don't know if I care to have anyone that's not in NFTs because I'm not like focused on that. I don't know, maybe like Obama or something. Like that'd be funny. Like just some
Okay.
like a president of the United States or something. I guess that'd be cool. Like I don't know. I've never really thought about that.
It's a hard
But
it's a hard question to answer for sure, especially on the spot.
yeah,
So
yeah,
good
definitely.
question.
And I got an even better one next. Have you had
Oh,
a moment in your life that was absolutely rock bottom, at least to this point in your life? And like, what was that? Even if it's not NFT, probably isn't related to NFTs. Let's be honest. But
no, I mean, yeah, it's not related to NFTs at
yeah,
all.
we'll get deep.
For
Yeah, we
sure.
can get deep
I
here.
don't want to get into the details of it, but I will tell you that when you have a family, a kid or two kids, plus dogs, plus in-laws and coworkers, even who are financially um, looking upon you for help,
Ah,
that and you're struggling, that's a hard time in life for sure. It's a hard balance of mental struggles and just absolutely everything else, but that it has nothing to do with
yeah,
NFTs.
yeah.
But yeah, I've had a few of those for sure, and it kind of comes around the financial thing, of course.
Have you struggled with any kind of mental illnesses beforehand, or like just a grown up or anything?
None that I know of, none that I've been diagnosed with, at least. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I think overall I'm pretty messed up in the head, but in a good way. I don't know.
that's funny. Yeah, trying to think of my like a rock bottom. It's I mean since I'm only 23, I feel like I've had like shitty moments, but I don't know if they're like if I was to look back in 20 years, if I was to look at that moment and be like, yeah, that
Yep.
wasn't that big of a deal. But I guess to this moment, there's been a few times like they've all just been more mental in the sense that I just felt stuck or I just felt like I wasn't moving forward, and that's a shitty feeling to have. That Gary Vee talks about all the time. He's like, if you're in your 20s, like he's just like that feeling, just like it's just
Yep.
gonna pass. He goes, you just don't realize how many more years you have left, and what he always says is like you really don't know what it feels like to be 45. But if you knew that when you're 45 you're gonna feel like you're 25 still, he goes, you wouldn't worry. And I'm always just like, if I could just really like ingrain that and like genuinely be able to live in that mindset, it'd be lit. But the thing is, I'm still 23 and I just can't.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, you're significantly more intelligent than I was when I was 23. Like I give you props for where you currently are because I'll tell you, even when I turned 30, I felt that prior to 30, like that was an older age and I would have had it figured out by now, you know?
Yeah,
But really, here at 33, I still feel kind of like what you just said. I still feel like I'm like 25.
yeah,
And ultimately that whole 10-year difference, roughly, it's like if I would have just known some of the stuff that I do now,
yeah.
significantly trajectory in my life would have occurred 100%.
And
So keep at it, man.
yeah, do you have any what was I gonna ask there? Like that 10-year gap, he always says, he's like, you could literally do absolutely nothing until you're 35 and literally just
Yep.
do it and you're literally fine. But like those 10 years, what have you taken? Because some people say live out your 20s, go hard your 20s, celebrate your only young ones. But to me, for
Mhm.
the last 5 years, I've been like, bro, the 20s suck. Like they're literally awful. I'm broke all the time. I like still have to bounce around places. I don't have any stability. I'm like, I'm ready for my 30s and 40s, bro. Like everyone's peaking in their 50s nowadays. So it's like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think my experience was quite a bit different than yours. I feel like again you're in a significantly better position than I was
Mm-hmm.
in my 20s. But I would say if I knew like one thing from my 20s to my 30s, it would have been just to stick with one thing. Like
Mm,
literally just whatever it is, stick with one thing, and over the course of the years, like I'm gonna crush it with regards to whatever it
yeah.
is. I've dabbled so many things. We talked about the shiny object syndrome before, like that one was a massive plight of mine, and I still struggle with it. But I would still say like that would be my one remembrance to myself, was be just like stick with YouTube. We talked about
Yeah.
YouTube. Like I've been filming for YouTube for 10 years. Like I should have just stuck with it hardcore twice as much than I did now, and I don't know where I would be with regards to just that like one sector of my life. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I know with Zencaster, I try and keep the interviews to like hour and 30 minutes. I'm gonna call this, but usually
you're good.
1:30 because sometimes it'll randomly chop off after 1:30 on my end. It's like it happened like
No,
twice
that's
now,
fine.
and I'm like, bro, what the fuck? So, anyways, I wanna
Oh,
since
that
we have like
sucks.
15 minutes, there's a few like rattle off questions that I wanted to do, but sometimes rattle
Yeah.
off turns into like long talks anyway. So I was like, 15 minutes is like perfect for that. So I've got a
Well,
few
I'll
that I'm
keep
gonna
it
throw
short.
at you.
No, I'll keep it short and sweet because again, I gotta bounce out of here
Okay, cool.
too. Two. So.
All right. Well, maybe you answered this before. I was gonna say guilty pleasures, but you were like vampires, a Twilight, and I was like, shit,
Hmm.
same.
Well, I want to clarify. So Twilight is not my forte.
Ah,
Like I
now
like
you're
the
backing
darker
off.
stuff. No. I never said like I like
No,
Twilight.
no, no.
I like the. Anyways, guilty pleasures, pizza. I love
Oh
pizza.
shit. What kind?
Struggle. Outside of that, a good fresh pair of boxers
Okay.
is a good
Yeah,
guilty pleasure.
that is pretty nice. What kind of pizza toppings you go with though? Like, and also, are you like thick crust, or you thick pizzas, thin pizzas?
I don't even care, man. As long as there's no pineapple on it, we're good to go.
Oh no, you would hate Mikey. He says pineapple goes in everything. R.I.P.
Can't even. Nope.
Damn. R.I.P. to that potential relationship. Guilty pleasures for me, I would say probably the Twilight series. I like the fantastical aspect of the vampires more
Okay.
than anything. Obviously, I have no idea like on a level of like 1 to 10 for movie production value. Like I don't know how good the video is there, but just the idea of the vampire world that excites me. And I've always loved that side of like TV shows and stuff too.
All right. So if we're talking about like movies and TV shows, like one that I love and continue to watch, I've watched it many times. I know like every single line to it
Oh
is
shit.
Fired Up. If you're not familiar with Fired Up, it's like this cheerleading movie. But outside of that, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything more. But that'd probably be it.
Wow. Okay.
Go watch
Well,
it. You'll like it.
I'll have to check that one out. If anyone watches that and has, or if anyone has heard of that, comment it down and definitely follow Corey because that'll be a
With a cheerleader emoji.
cheerleader emoji. That'd be perfect. Okay. First NFT you ever bought. I don't know if you answered this earlier. I can't remember if you did.
I think it was Dapper Dinos.
Okay, that was the first one.
Yeah. I think that was the very first one.
Very cool.
I'm almost confident it was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, mine was OogaVerse. That's actually a gaming project. I don't know if you've heard of that one. They're one that I think is cool. I think they could maybe pop off. They've kind of just been building since the summer. Just been building, chilling. You know, I've had them since May. But that was the first NFT I bought. First relationship.
I can't say the name, but my pillow. I don't know. I would say my first when I was younger, and I get teased for this all the time from my wife. I got around the block a little bit,
Oh
like even in my
God.
younger years. I know it's a problem.
That's funny.
Now, not so much, of
Yeah.
course.
Blocks down.
But I don't remember I do remember my very first relationship.
How old were you?
Ultimately, she moved away, and I was heartbroken.
Damn.
So thanks for bringing that back up. That's awesome.
Was that like were you in like high school or something, or middle school, like college?
This was like elementary school,
Oh
dude.
shit. Okay.
I fell hard young.
Damn. I think sixth grade was my first girlfriend. She dumped me the same day for Cameron Parker. Never forget that.
Dang.
Never forget that.
Same day.
Annie Hutchins, dude. Fuck Annie Hutchins. I'm just kidding. We're gonna blur her out. Let's see. Have you ever had a near-death experience, like a genuine, you almost dead, you could have been dead?
I know of I know of one, and it's not as exciting as most people would think. I was younger, and I was going through a construction site, and they were laying bricks actually on the side of the house, and they were cutting it. So whenever if you've ever been there, there's structures where they can kind of climb up on and up the three-story ladders, and they chop the bricks to make them to the size, and they toss them down. Well, I was just wandering around the site, and they didn't see me, and guy went tossed it off of the third story, and it hit me on the top of the head, and I remember falling. I don't remember anything outside of that for about the next probably what I would guess is like minute, because I fainted. I woke up, there was blood all over my head, and then no one saw. Luckily, my house was across the street, so this was when houses were getting built.
Yeah.
And I had this massive gash on my head. My shit was just bleeding all down my hand. And I walked into the house, and then my parents were just like freaked out.
Wow.
But I would say that's probably a pretty close near-death experience, only in the sense that I was younger, had a brick dropped on my head from the third story, and nothing too exciting, but that's probably the one that I remember.
That is fucking insane, dude. That you totally could have
I
done.
mean, I should have had a lot more because I used to race when I was younger with my cars and stuff,
Okay.
and a whole bunch of other crazy stuff. I've been arrested a few times, but nothing.
Dude, that's literally the next
Nothing like
question. What
the
were you
brick.
like in like high school and stuff?
Oh, uh, I I feel like I got along with a lot of people. Honestly, I don't know that there were cliques,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
I don't know that I clicked into one or the other. I feel like I kept a good communication between pretty much everybody.
Likewise.
Yeah, so it's hard to place myself in a category there.
Hmm.
I don't know.
True, true. Okay, next question. This one's NFT related, I guess. What's the best piece of advice to actually get whitelist on these big projects? Like you got it on MekaVerse, you've probably gotten a few other cool projects. So what's the secret? Why is everyone behind? You know, why is no one able to get it? Why is everyone always fighting for it?
Well, I think the counter conversation to that, just to keep it real brief, is I'm not a fan, and I used to do this too. I'm not a fan of grinding my life away and my hours away just to try to get
Mm,
whitelist. I think one thing that has been super valuable in my past experience has been to create fan art or to make in your name on the server. You know, you can go into the server name and change your name, make it have like an emoji. So at least whenever you comment, there's a little bit of a differentiating factor there as well. So that perhaps they see you a little
mm,
bit more than they would have if it didn't have that. That's been really good.
yeah.
Um, those two things alone, obviously, if you're producing YouTube content like White Elephant in the Room,
Mm,
that people like to have content produced around them. Um, and then I also like follow the people if I can find the founders of the project on Twitter
yeah.
and just mention, hey, I really love what you guys are doing here on the project. Just wanted to give you my feelings on the matter, whatever you want to say.
Mm,
But there's a lot of different varieties of what you can do to sort of stand out and ultimately hop into maybe even a voice chat. Like I used to love hopping into voice chats. I don't do it too much anymore, but voice chat's a great place to kind of see. I think some other people have actually commented on this before, to see people and talk with people on a more authentic
mm.
matter than just behind a keyboard. I think that's a good way to connect the dots.
Yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice because people are thinking that the only way to get it is to grind. And I agree with you. Grinding
Yep.
sucks. It was fine for a couple months back when it was first becoming a thing. Like Space Apes had that. But that was before everyone was doing it. You know, they were kind of that first wave. And so now the projects are doing it. It's not the right way to get diamond holders. That's the right way to get a bunch of idiots wasting all their time, basically, for the most part. And flippers. There's a lot of flippers in there because they grinded
Yep.
25 hours straight. They want their money's worth. They're not going to hold your picture. They want their money. And I think the way it's better done is to have different kinds, like exactly what you're saying on fan art. Do something where you're actually emotionally invested in something, and then they reward you for being someone who like took that extra step, and they're not going to sell.
You know, I think one of the reasons OogaVerse found me as well, or flipped me to be able to mint
Mm-hmm.
on the whitelist, was because in OogaVerse I had bananas on both sides of my name,
Smart,
and no one else had done that.
smart.
So
That's a genius move. That's a genius move. And you did that early, I bet,
I
because
did.
there's people
I did
who
it
have
very
that
early.
now. They put the name of the project in their Discord tag so that people know. Oh, it says who so and so HapeBeast, and so they're trying to do
Yep.
that. But now everyone kind of figured that out. But that is smart. Like, you got to be early to those trends. If you see something or you notice, you're like, oh, this is a good way to stick out. That's the answer. Like, how can you be the weirdest person in there? Not in a bad way, but how can you be the weirdest person where every time the mod goes in, they say, oh, he's in here again, like spreading good stuff or helping people out,
Yep.
whatever. So that's a great piece of advice right there.
For sure.
Okay, this is the last NFT question. What
All right.
are your thoughts on these massive brands coming into NFTs, and what way are they going to play in the NFT industry, short term and long
I
term?
think it's just beginning. I think it's just beginning. I mean, we've seen so many different huge brands, Adidas, a massive amount of brands, and those of which we don't even know that are going to come out yet. I think that so many people are just starting to figure out what this space is,
Mm-hmm.
and to go through a corporation to get them to actually take action on this space is a whole nother process within itself too.
Mm,
So the fact that people are just now becoming to be familiarized with what it is, and then ultimately to take action to be a part of this space, that's going to take some time.
mm-hmm.
But I feel like wholeheartedly, and maybe you can agree with me here on this, Kate, that more people than we could ever imagine are going to start doing this. Like
Yeah.
it's going to be a business structure at some point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think the business structure part is going to be the biggest thing when people realize that and they finally agree and acknowledge that NFT projects are just companies and they're brands, but they're different. They're
Hmm.
started opposite. They don't start and then earn everyone at the end. You earn at the beginning and everyone investing in the beginning and they grow with you as the brand grows. It's a different, that's what Web3 is. They're saying like it's just a different style of business. And so a lot of new
Yep.
projects that are coming in, especially established ones, I think are doing it wrong. Like Nike came in and bought Clone X, big whoop, but now what? Like they don't know what they're doing, and so they need to be partnering up with people like you or me or someone covering NFT world who's also down in the dirt doing the grimy work. So they're like, hey, like, should I do this? And you're like, absolutely fucking not. You shouldn't be doing that. What do you mean we should do a grind for whitelist? Like, because that's what's already been happening, and they wouldn't know that. unless they got an
And this
advisor
is what
like
you
you.
get from that.
Hmm.
Yep. Exactly. And then not only that, just to answer that on a secondary level, it's not just about like the profile picture to create more liquidity for that brand, right?
Yeah,
It could also
yeah.
be Gary Vaynerchuk talks about like he believes that, and I do too, that companies will start to utilize contracts on the blockchain just for verification
Hmm.
purposes only, and so many other use cases that most people are familiar with that whether they use it on a profile picture or gamification side of things or something you'll never see. Um, there's so many different levels to that.
Yeah.
So I think they're not going anywhere anytime soon
Yeah, dude. It's me
or ever.
whenever I think about like utility, and I hate that word because everyone throws around the stupid word utility, but the
Yeah.
whatever the value is coming from holding that NFT. Like I have some like goofy ones. Like for my NFTs, I have like 100 art NFTs that'll be released before my NFT project in a few years when I do that, and those are going to be like my access keys. They're like my access to my brand or whatever. And like one of the utilities
Mhm.
I thought that would be really funny is like you have a barcode that you can scan or a QR code, and like every time you go to fucking in and out or something, like it's just charged into like my account instead, and like you get free
Yeah.
for life kind of thing for holding something goofy like that. I want to have like an access key where if you own it, then you have access to the private link that I want to buy a house in like Hawaii and be like, yeah, this is your free Airbnb. So as long as there's no one here already, you can book it and everything's covered for you. So I have like weird, crazy ideas for those because they're smaller. But do you have any
That's
ideas
where it
for your
starts.
personal brand? Like, are you looking to do anything like that, an access key to your brand of Corey, or if you're looking to name yourself something else?
Well, what's funny is, yes. And the reason I say yes very directly is because currently, a few of the guys, myself, Ape Chef and Absolute, we've done an alpha group channel
Mm-hmm.
together. I'm not sure if you're familiar
Yep.
with it. It's called the Ascendance. So right now we're providing the three of us the most value that we possibly ever could with all of our knowledge combined between software development, analysts, and just overall information behind the space and different tools of which that can provide more value to the otherwise, common person, I would say, who doesn't really know too much about the space, or maybe is just jumping into the space and wants a little bit more
Yeah.
guidance. We've kind of come up with a pass, and that'll be releasing here very soon. And two different options based off of which one you guys ultimately wanted to do that will provide you with significant amount more information to make a better judgment call at the
Yeah.
end of the day. And again, whether it's a floor analysis tool or auto bidding tool or access directly to not only myself, the other two guys, but we've got a team of analysts as well that we sub out to
Mm-hmm.
projects. And there's different levels of it too. So while I never thought it would come this quick, this is the first one we will be doing. And then outside of that, who's to say what happens in the next month or two? I think I'm always learning about personal growth and development, just like you are. And there's going to be something else that I certainly want to do to provide more value to people, not just to make a quick buck.
Yeah. And dude, it's so fun.
That shows too.
Yeah. It's also just fun because like literally as your YouTube channel hits 10K, 50K, 100K, a million, whatever, like if you like truly believe in yourself and your true fans really know and think that you're gonna go to the moon, you just going to the moon and working toward going to the moon is value in itself because they're like, yo, I'm on this rocket with you. I'm holding your NFT,
Yep.
your brand every year, you're better and better. You have more access, you have more networking opportunities, you have more value just by growing. And that's like the best
Mm-hmm.
part about that. I don't think most influencers who are launching projects even are acknowledging for some reason. Like the Journey crypto NFT is worth it because as Tony keeps growing as a content creator and as a person in this industry. So yeah, just being close to him is helpful. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's an exciting
Absolutely.
part of utility. So like you just going to the fucking moon is it. And honestly,
I
dude,
love it.
it's gonna be great.
No, I think so too. For not only myself and you, and like I said, everyone else who actually just jumps in and does the thing, because that was one of the things that we've talked about. I've done YouTube in the past. That this one here started because of the fact that I wanted to just jump in and start making content. I knew it wasn't going to be great. I knew my background wasn't great. I had the freaking water heater right next to me for the longest time. I was in my bedroom before with my mattress
Yeah.
and dirty sheets, etc. So like ultimately you refine yourself and you grow throughout the space, and I think people like to see that you're not just this inanimate object that just all of a sudden popped up and does perfect. Like I think that's a little bit off-putting, but the growth aspect behind it is something that I think a lot of people can connect with too. So it's been fun.
Absolutely, dude. All right, well, we're pretty much gonna wrap up there. Is there any last? I don't
Cool.
know if you have like a last message you want to send out to the world, or if you want to shout out anyone. This will be it. Like, just be like, "Wow, mom,"
This
or
is the
something.
time. No, yeah, dang man, it's almost harder than like who would you want to follow you.
Yeah.
No one in particular. I appreciate your time as well, and then your audience for taking interest in what we have to say with one another. And obviously, I look forward to seeing everybody in the general chats, whether it's this community or another community. Like Cade and myself will be around, and I'm looking forward to growing this space with you guys. So it's really about you.
Hell yeah, dude. Thank you. Yeah, honestly, we've had a lot of people ask me about you because they were like, you guys are similar. They're like, you guys should do a podcast. And same thing with Mikey. So I think we're all going to the moon together. It's going to be fun. Like you said earlier, there's literally room for all of us. There's no reason we all can't just go to a million, And so
Yeah,
that's
100%.
just what we're going to do.
You need to, at some point in this video, cut like a Step Brothers
Oh,
reference because
hell
we're
yeah.
like, did we just become best friends? Yep.
I love it. I love it. All right, guys. Well, hey, if you made it to the end of this video, code word is going to be Corey with 3 Y's at the end. So just comment that below. We'll know if you watched this podcast all the way through. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, join the kingdom, like this video. All of Corey's stuff will be linked in the description below. Make sure you follow him there. He's got that Alpha Gaming channel. He's going to be the gaming dude. So, yeah, we appreciate you guys being in here. Again, Corey, thank you for your time and just being here. This is a dope piece of content.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Awesome to chat with you.
Yeah, guys. Okay, until next time, continue on your Joyage, continue to learn, and be grateful you're alive watching this video. Bye.